Hey guys, thank you for watching the SlatRock channel. In case you haven't already, please check out our previous video, Top 10 WWE Wrestlers and Factions Vince McMahon Buried Since They Were Not His Creation. Also, don't forget, if you like this video or any of our other videos, please hit that subscribe button so you can get notified every time we post a new video. In today's video, we're going to talk about 10 wrestlers WWE once considered to be part of famous wrestling stables. Stables can be a great way to give a wrestler's career a boost when they're surrounded by wrestlers perceived as top stars. Or they can end up in stables with various misfits, resulting in their getting lost in the crowd. Here are 10 WWE wrestlers you cannot imagine being part of famous wrestling stables. Number 10. The Godfather in the New World Order. Anyone who followed the career of Charles Wright knows the WWE superstar earned his place in the WWE Hall of Fame thanks to his ability to work around shaky gimmicks such as Papa Shango and Kama the Supreme Fighting Machine. In 1996, Wright took time off from the WWF and was approached by WCW about joining the NWO as Hollywood Hulk Hogan's enforcer. Wright was ready for the new role, but found the offer suddenly withdrawn by WCW. Rumor has it the reason was wrestler Virgil agreed to the role at 1/3 of Wright's price. Wright fared fine and went on to WWF fame as the pimpin' player known as the Godfather. Number 9. Test in DGeneration X. Bruce Pritchard's Something to Wrestle With podcast has given fans insight into some fascinating behind-the-scenes stories, one of which is how Andrew Test Martin almost joined DGeneration X. According to the man who played Brother Love and worked in the WWF office, Martin was considered for a spot in DX, as Martin reminded Pritchard of Diesel. However, Shawn Michaels and Triple H adamantly opposed the idea, with both men supposedly saying Test was no Kevin Nash. Instead, Martin went to developmental and debuted as rock band Motley Crue's bodyguard turned wrestler, Test. Number 8. Val Venis in DGeneration X. Test wasn't the only wrestler considered for membership in the WWF's Bad Boys Club. In 1998, WWF writer Vince Russo suggested Venis would be a good fit in the lewd, rude, and crude DX, but members Triple H and Shawn Michaels vetoed the idea, similar to what they did with Test. Venis would have made a good addition to DX since he too pushed the envelope with sexual innuendo during the Attitude Era, fitting well into the WWF's PG-13 storylines. Nevertheless, Venis managed to do fine in singles competition, becoming one of the most entertaining stars at a time when the WWF was great to watch. Number 7. Chris Jericho as part of the Spirit Squad. Chris Jericho was involved in many famous bouts and held several WWE titles since his debut in 1999. After years of taking bumps in the ring and traveling on the road, Y2J wanted a break from pro wrestling and requested not to extend his contract, which was set to expire on August 25, 2005. The Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla made his last appearance in WWE on the August 22, 2005 episode of Raw. Jericho faced Cena in a "You're Fired" match. Cena won the match and Jericho was fired by Raw general manager Eric Bischoff. Right about this time, Vinnie Mac came up with the idea of a stable with male cheerleaders. Originally, the group was scheduled to be made up of 4 wrestlers from WWE's developmental territory, Ohio Valley Wrestling: Ken Doane, Nick Mitchell, Nick Nemeth, and Elijah Burke. Burke, however, turned down McMahon's offer to join the Spirit Squad, feeling that he could not perform the acrobatics required from members of the group, and chose to remain in OVW. Burke was replaced in the Spirit Squad by Johnny Jeter and Mike Bondo. The 5 members were given new ring names: Kenny, Johnny, Mitch, Nicky, and Mikey. Vince McMahon wanted an established wrestler to head this faction and approached Y2J in November of 2005. To everyone's surprise, Vince was able to convince Y2J to make a comeback and head the faction. By December 2005, Jericho changed his mind and opted to sit out, thankfully. In an episode of Talk Is Jericho in 2014, Y2J said the poor storylines were the reason why he backed out. Guys, can you imagine Y2J being a part of the Spirit Squad? Number 6. Dean Ambrose in 3MB. While Jinder Mahal has done surprisingly well for himself, and some argue Heath Slater has improved as well, 3MB was never seen as anything more than a comedy stable. According to Heath Slater, Dean Ambrose was considered for the faction prior to his debut in The Shield. According to Jinder Mahal, Ambrose and Fandango were once considered for the spots that would be filled by Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. While Fandango couldn't have fared any worse, we can't see Ambrose thriving in 3MB. Number 5. China in the New World Order. Wrestler Joanie Laurer defied gender barriers when she entered the wrestling world, quickly establishing herself as a woman who could compete and win against male wrestlers. Before she joined the WWF in her career-making role as DGeneration X's bodyguard, Laurer was approached by the New World Order about becoming their first female member. Although Triple H and Shawn Michaels were eager to have Laurer join DX, Vince McMahon reportedly disliked the idea, thinking no one would believe her as a credible opponent for men. According to Laurer's memoir, If They Only Knew, she was close to signing with WCW when Shane McMahon asked her to stall, implying he was close to convincing his dad to sign her. Laurer held off, and Shane came through, leading to the debut of China, the 9th wonder of the world. Number 4. Mark Jindrak in Evolution. Evolution was one of WWE's most successful stables, creating main event stars out of newcomers Randy Orton and Dave Bautista. One wrestler who was considered for Evolution was Mark Jindrak, a WWE superstar who never seemed to break out of the mid-card. According to the Triple H video, Thy Kingdom Come, Jindrak was originally considered as a member of Evolution, even shooting vignettes with Randy Orton, Triple H, and Ric Flair as the group's enforcer. For reasons unknown, the role eventually went to Dave Bautista, making Bautista into a world champion and leaving Jindrak to count the lights. Number 3. Baron Corbin and Judas Devlin in the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family has helped wrestlers such as Eric Rowan and Luke Harper get into the spotlight, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to do much after leaving. Whether this is because Bray Wyatt can make anyone look good next to him or because of bad booking, we can't be sure. Two superstars who almost joined the Wyatt family are Baron Corbin and Judas Devlin, one name you may recognize and one you may not. Wrestling's lone wolf, Baron Corbin, was reportedly very close to joining the Wyatts. Vinnie Mac instead saw Baron Corbin as a singles player and was left aside. On the other hand, developmental wrestler Judas Devlin also cut some tryout promos, but failed to get into the Wyatt family. Sadly, Devlin suffered a serious spinal injury in 2013 and was let go a year later. Number 2. Triple H in the New World Order. 2002's NWO reunion was one disaster after another, as fans forced the WWE to turn Hollywood Hogan face, and Scott Hall self-destructing his way out of WWF, eliminating 2 of the 3 NWO members. The WWF tried to salvage the idea by bringing Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Triple H into the faction, a lineup which had the potential to be fantastic. Unfortunately, Kevin Nash tore a quad during a match, resulting in the entire New World Order angle being scrapped by Vince McMahon on the July 15th episode of Monday Night Raw. Triple H would tease a DX reunion with the Heartbreak Kid only to attack him and start a historic feud that saw Shawn Michaels' amazing comeback. Before we get to the number 1 pick, one honorable mention: Dan Severn in the Ministry of Darkness. Wrestling fans have wondered why real-life badass Dan Severn's WWF run was so short-lived. After all, the WWF was eager to sign real-life tough men like Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman, so Severn, an MMA pioneer and former UFC Superfight champion, would have fit right in. Wrestling lore has it that Vince McMahon didn't see Severn's potential as a real-life tough man and told Severn that he wanted him to join The Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness and emblazon 666 on his forehead, the biblical number of the beast. Severn passed on the idea, but the WWF insisted he go through with it. Finally, Severn allegedly told the WWF he'd have no problem exposing the business by shooting on opponents in the ring. The WWF promptly released Severn from his contract, ending his short run. Number 1. Chris Hero in The Shield. CM Punk has gone on record as taking credit for the idea of The Shield, the terrific trio that made instant stars out of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. However, according to at least one story, Punk pitched the idea of indie superstar Chris Hero, aka Cassius Ohno in NXT, being in The Shield alongside Rollins and Ambrose. Vince McMahon and Triple H liked the idea of The Shield, but chose Roman Reigns instead of Hero. Getting into a stable can be a good thing, but what would have happened if these what-if scenarios became reality? Are there any wrestlers we missed? Be sure to leave your comments below and like our video. If you do like this video, you can also subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this one. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and as always, thanks for watching.